you did something, and I don't know if you know how much it meant. So I want to talk about it for a second. On that day, March 8th, International Women's Day, you wrote one of the most touching posts on LinkedIn. And you made a point of being very personal in that post, and showing an amount of gratitude and empathy, and you called out, women that had mattered to you. I've worked plenty of places. You have too. The word ally gets thrown around a fair bit, but you are truly an ally. And, I tease you a little bit just because we have this relationship together, but you really show up in meaningful ways for women and underrepresented categories as well. Why is that so important to you, Joe? And I know I'm putting you on the spot, but
first of all, that means a lot. That what I did had meaning for you and was impactful for me. It was a small gesture. Really, my view is that especially in the tech industry, males, especially white males, we have a responsibility to be allies for everyone else around us, so that we can truly continue to build. We've made some progress, but have a lot more to go. A diverse and equitable and inclusive culture, right, at work and in our industry. And tech, right, is notoriously bad, for lots of reasons, just in terms of who has historically participated in STEM programs, hiring decisions, all of that. And so really, I take great responsibility and accountability, and I believe it's very important to be that ally for women in tech.
That's awesome. Thank you. How did you learn to be this way? There must be some people who impacted you on this journey.
Yeah. So there are a couple of factors. Number one, I'm in marketing, and in all the functions within tech, marketing historically has been one that has had, more, a higher representation of women. And several of my previous mentors who I, value highly and have really helped me along the journey have been incredible women. And so for me, it's about carrying it forward, right? And paying it back, and doing everything that I can do, not just within marketing, but also across the company. A second factor has really been my upbringing. I'll share a personal story about my mom. She, who unfortunately, we're missing her now for 30 years. She passed from cancer, very, very young age. She was sort of, when I was growing up in the 70s, kind of like the stereotypical, suburban mother. She had a nursing career. She came over from Sweden and was part of the American Red Cross. And I come from a medical household. My dad was a physician. My mom was a nurse. And then she took time out, to raise her kids. I have two sisters who I'll also mention because they've been a great influence. And my mom faced health challenges, but she also went back to work, and she didn't just go back in the role that she had been in. She got a new degree and went into business, and she became an insurance sales rep. And she excelled at it. And she did it extremely well, unfortunately, way too short, because she succumbed to her illness, to her cancer. But she was a tremendous inspiration. I didn't fully, realize it at the time because I was a teenager and in college, and not as appreciative of my parents as, I later came to be. But she was an incredible inspiration. And then my two sisters, who are, came up through the same journey, they're incredible moms, sisters, friends, very professionally accomplished. One is in business, one is in law, and just I'm so proud of them. And so again, that feeds my fuel to be supportive and to be an ally for women just like them.
Going to need a little moment here, Joe. Thank you. I think we have a first. Judi, 15 minutes with Judi. I have some tears in my eyes.
Well, you're gonna get me going, so we have to stop.
Yeah, we do have to stop. Thank you for sharing that. I'm doing a session next week myself for an organization that I belong to, CC Women. And that matters to me, to be a part of that. And one of the things that we're talking about is innovating your career, right? There's so much about transformation and innovation and things like that. But we have to talk about, how do you innovate your own career? Because with the rate of change that we all face right now, in this industry, what AI has done, right? And all of the new job possibilities that are available. Tell me a little bit, because as you said, and what a point of reference. Your mom went from being a nurse to being a successful salesperson selling insurance, right?
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about innovating your career and some of the things that you've done, to go from where you were to where you are. What, one or two things that you would want others to think about.
Yeah, I mean, I've learned so much. I remember early on, someone who was a mentor to me, very, very senior in the organization, was a vice president of basically a general manager of a business unit. And we were talking, and he told me that he doesn't really have any skills anymore, individual skills. What he meant was he has sort of delegated, right, everything around him to his team. And now his sole focus was developing and mentoring others and coaching. And I was a little floored by that, because everything I had learned was about acquiring your own skills, demonstrating your own skills, right? And as an individual contributor, right, early in your career, it is about proving yourself. But then ultimately, leadership is about the collective good. How can we develop others? And as cliche as it sounds, right, I truly believe in that 1 + 1 = 3 equation, where you're getting much greater impact across the organization because you're developing new leaders. So, for me, it's about charting your own course, figuring out what are the path that works for you. I have made my share of mistakes. I've been offered promotions by very successful people, and I thought, well, what they were offering me to go do was not sort of where I saw the path, and maybe that was right or wrong, but whatever it was the decision at the time, and the course became my own, and being individually responsible for that course of action and what I go learn, what do I go do, so that's accountable to the individual. And then the other part of that is the importance of mentors. We talked about them, in the previous topic. So some of my prior mentors in marketing, folks like Tracy Eiler, and Jen Sprague, who I worked with earlier in my career, finding those people who you can really learn from and be inspired by, and to some degree emulate, but then go ultimately and chart your own path. So those are just a couple. This is a topic we could talk about for a long time, by the way.
I'm telling already, we're going to have you back, Joe, and we're going to do another one of these. You have 2 boys, right? What's one piece of advice you would give your sons?
Back to the charting your own course. Don't fit into what you think is the mold for you. That's a big piece of learning for me. I again grew up in a medical household, and I was pre-med in college, and then decided ultimately to go into software and technology. But it's trust go and learn and explore and find really what makes you passionate, and then chart your own course.
Awesome. One day you'll retire. How would you spend your days when you retire?
Wow, that's a great question, because it seems like it's, quite a ways off, but reality, it's not that far off. I think I would like to do a combination of things. As you know, I love travel, especially international travel. I love photography. I would love to spend time traveling while I still have the health to be able to do that. And then I'd also love to give back in a more holistic and meaningful way. Meaning, when financial security isn't my primary motivation, how can I free myself to do something, whether it's, become part of our nonprofit, serve in a capacity, right, on a board, or actually, right, do something substantial that helps others. And I think if I can do those two things and, have the benefit and the luck of good health and my family around me, I'll be very happy.
That's awesome. I hope that you get to do those things because your photography is very good. And I do know how much you love travel. So I hope you can combine those and, enjoy the days when you're not having to come up with, we're not calling them categories. We're calling them, what are we calling it? Movement. That's right. That's right. Okay, Joe, I'm going to turn the tables. Is there any question you want to ask me? Nobody ever asked me a question.
Yeah, the first one, Judi, you've done a number of these interviews with some amazing people, which I feel very honored to be a part of. What has been sort of the most, inspiring point that you've learned or taken away from one of these interviews, or even a surprising moment?
Yeah, no, it's great. It's great. I love doing these because I'm just I'm a talker and a chatterbox anyway, right? So I just love to be able to make the connections deeper. There's so many TED Talks, podcasts, you name it out there, but I think that people definitely always want a deeper connection with each other. And I enjoy doing this with anybody who's willing to come talk to me. But there's been a few things when I spent time, for instance, with Sanjeet, and she is someone who means a lot to me, but just her grace and her poise and some of the stuff that she was going through in her life at that time. And yet she just showed up and so purposeful and, wanted to always share her knowledge. That's stuck with me. And she and I meet, on a regular basis now because I think that conversation made us want to spend more time together, on the regular. And then just the other night, I was having a conversation with somebody and I used something that Marlene Summers had said in hers. And it was one of those aha moments. And it was about the fact that you make a majority of your decisions about your life in your 20s and early 30s. And then you spend the rest of your life basically having to live with those decisions or undo those decisions or such, right? And if you really think about it, we're really ill-equipped early in our 20s and 30s to make some of the biggest life decisions. And yet that's what we're forced to do. You go to college, you choose a major, you move out of your home from your parents and you go pick a place in the world where you're going to live and you try to plant those roots and stuff. And just the way she presented that to me, it really made me, it made me show up better in a conversation I was having with somebody. Because she was trying to undo some things. And I said, don't be so hard on yourself. And I found myself parroting the way Marlene had put that. And it was really meaningful.
That's fantastic. I'm going to go back to the work topic, Judi, to wrap this up.
Yep.
We've talked kind of how the support journey and the transformation of support has has kind of, had a large movement and come full circle, back to the importance of support experience. What's your take? How do you see the next, I'm not going to ask you about 5 years, 10 years, just 2 years. What are you most excited about?
Yeah, well, this is an amazing one for me. I think that anybody who's been in support as long as I have, and it's been, a few decades now, we've done it because we have had in some way a unique calling. And I do think it is a calling. Every time you want to show up and make a customer's life better and lead engineers and agents and such, right? It's not for the faint of heart. I've said that for a long time. Support it's not an easy job. And yet our job right now is so cool. And we're going to do amazing things in this industry. And we're finally getting to a place where people throughout the company, throughout the industry, are looking at support with a new set of eyes. And I see a renewed, I don't know what you want to say, a renewed step, a renewed vigor, a renewed enthusiasm in my fellow leaders. I was blessed today. I started my early morning with Jerry Stalick from Delinea. And he was my first call. It was 8:30 in the morning my time, so it was 5:30 in the morning his time. And I got to be there. He's one of our newest customers. As he was kicking off to his team the fact of what SupportLogic would do and how it would change their world. And his enthusiasm, and I'm not trying to do a SupportLogic commercial, but his enthusiasm for how they're going to change their company and their customers' perceptions and how they're going to be better leaders and such. We're sitting there right now with that. And it's like all the stars are aligning, and all those things that people hoped, would happen to support. Stop being a cost center, stop being the first one people look to for, reductions in force, do more with less, right? All of these things. And now people are going, wow, what do you think, support? How should we do this? And I'm just so excited because even some of my friends who had been kind of, what do they say, quiet quitting, kind of checking out, approaching retirement age, they're like back in it now. They're in it to win. And they're like, this is cool. This is what we've been waiting for. And so I'm so proud of everyone who hung in there through some of the really rough decades. And now, the way they're approaching problem solving, the way they're approaching taking care of their staff, providing this employee experience and again, support experience. This is the best time ever. And I've done some cool jobs. I've had some cool gigs. This is the best, right? And I just think it's going to be fun again, and it's going to be rewarding for everyone. And that's what I'm most excited about.
Thank you. I love that. And I just want to say, Judi, thank you. The series you're doing here, I think is really just the tip of the iceberg. The fact that, you've been a champion in the industry for so long, right? And all of your companies, TSIA, right? Most recently as a SupportLogic customer, we were so lucky to have you come and join us and to be right, that flag carrying champion for support experience and the transformation of the industry. And I just am so lucky to partner with you on that journey. So I appreciate it.
Thanks. Feelings mutual. All right, Joe, I'm going to say goodbye to you for now. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you, Judi. Mine as well.